A cold front that pushed across the state dropped today's high in Denver by about 10 degrees. And it looks like some of that more gloomy weather could maybe bump up against your Memorial Day weekend plans this weekend.
Traffic, of course, is always a consideration, especially if you're headed for the hills, where one crash and shut down a large portion of I-70, which is exactly what happened earlier today near the tunnel. That scene was cleaned up quickly and the interstate reopened. Lauren Robinson's keeping an eye on the weather situation for us headed into the long holiday weekend.
That's right. As we go over the next few days, we do have some storm chances out there, but each of our days should start off pretty sunny. So there will be some hours to get outside and do those outdoor activities and wait for those temperatures to at least rise a bit more than what we saw today. We maxed out at 70 degrees today at DIA, which was about 10 degrees cooler than our high of 80 degrees yesterday. Most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains saw 70s, but we maxed out at just 68 today down in Colorado Springs. The high country warmed into the 50s and 60s, then more lower to middle 70s this afternoon across the western slope. As we take a look at our HD Doppler radar, the vast majority of us have stayed dry today, but we're looking for a little bit of light precipitation in some areas. This is going to be near the Front Range, where we do have some very light rain showers down near Byers. We also have some snow starting to form between Estes Park and Allens Park. None of this is going to be too strong, just some light snowfall there with a small accumulation as we go into the rest of the evening hours. But as we move into the day tomorrow, we will see those late day storm chances. We're also trending a bit drier for our Sunday, and I'll let you know what our warm and breezy Memorial Day will look like on Monday. All of that just ahead in my full 7-day forecast.
Lauren, thank you. Plenty of people will be getting outdoors this weekend around the weather. Here in Colorado, we know that a fun hike can quickly take a turn for the worse. 9 News reporter Lawrence Cafidi joins us after talking to the folks who pull people out of those tough spots. Lauren?
Rescue crews say now is the start of their busy season. They're answering more calls than normal. They have some advice if you'll be at a higher elevation, and down here closer to Denver, you'll want to keep yourself and your pups safe too.
It's springtime in the Rockies. So what a time, and we were meant to be outside.
While you're out and about with your friends and family, now's the time of year you might run into some neighbors you didn't necessarily invite.
We share Colorado with lots of different animals. We've already had our first rattlesnake bite here for this summer, so I know it's officially summer when the snakes are out.
Kevin Fitzgerald is a veterinarian. He's been catching and tracking rattlesnakes for decades.
I'm making an incision, and we're going to put a transmitter in him.
He says rattlesnakes are usually out at dusk and dawn. As they blend in with their surroundings, they can be easy to miss.
They don't want to be seen.
But you won't miss their impact.
The hallmark of a rattlesnake bite is tremendous swelling right away.
The first step is to get to the vet, then potentially an antivenom. To avoid all of that, Dr. Fitzgerald recommends what he calls the 30-30 rule.
30 and 30. We move 30 feet away and give them 30 seconds to do their business.
He says you'll see rattlesnakes up to 8,500 feet. Above that, you're up against different challenges right now.
In that transitional period between seasons, be prepared for it to be more winter-like.
Jake Smith with the Alpine Rescue Team says this weekend marks the start of their busy season, Memorial Day through Labor Day.
We're starting to see calls every weekend. We're starting to see higher acuity calls, so more injuries.
To steer clear of a rescue, a rattlesnake bite, or another big problem this weekend, you just need a little preparation before you head outdoors.
Use your head, be safe. It's Colorado. We gotta enjoy it.
Earlier this week, Lake County Search and Rescue had 2 calls for help. That was on Mount Massive and Mount Albert. They say that there's still snow on the trails at the top of those 14ers, so pack appropriately and wear bright colors just in case you do need some help. Live in Denver, Lawrence Cafidi, Live 9 News.
DU is investigating tonight another case of vandalism on campus. DU says 4 people got caught at Craig Hall last night. Denver police say they were using a marker to graffiti the inside of a building. 1 person ran away, 3 people were arrested, and 2 of them are DU students. The university says they're facing disciplinary actions. This is the 2nd vandalism incident on DU's campus just this week.
An 18-year-old man in Centennial is accused of sexually exploiting children online, and now investigators are looking for more victims. Arapahoe County Sheriff's deputies arrested John Vanderbosch this week after a months-long investigation. They say he extorted children through Snapchat and text messages. He's facing a long list of felony charges. There is a tip line number there on your screen. We also have it in this article on 9news.com. If you think you have additional information, you're asked to call that number.
A former Arapahoe County social worker who made up a child abuse claim against an Aurora City Council member is now going to prison. Today, a judge sentenced Robin Niceta to 4 years. And Robin Niceta had called a child abuse hotline back in 2022, falsely claiming that Aurora councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky may have sexually assaulted her own child. That was a false claim, and it came one day after Jurinsky called Aurora's then chief of police trash on a radio show. Former chief Vanessa Wilson and Niceta were dating at the time. In court today, the judge called the allegation ruinous and heinous, and during her apology, Niceta claimed she was dealing with alcohol abuse and mental health problems.
I take full responsibility of my actions and work through the negative thoughts and issues that led me to make such a foolish decision. My decision has come with many consequences, and my life will forever be unrepairable as a result.
Danielle Jurinsky told us she's happy with this sentence. Now, Niceta's legal troubles aren't over. She's accused of lying about her criminal case and faking a brain cancer diagnosis. The trial for that case is set for September. Her attorney says they're working toward a plea deal.
For the first time in more than 4 decades, funeral providers in Colorado will have to be licensed to do that work. Governor signed a pair of bills today. One requires regulators to routinely inspect funeral homes and gives them more enforcement power. The other bill requires anyone in the industry to be licensed and pass a background check. State legislators passed those bills after some gruesome discoveries, including nearly 200 bodies left behind at a funeral home in Penrose last year. Samantha Naranjo's grandmother was among them.
Her legacy means way more than her body being left in a building to rot for over a year.
Those new requirements won't kick in until 2027. Existing funeral home operators will still have to pass background checks and standardized exams.
Colorado will once again lead the way in building a new drug industry. We're one of the first states to legalize psychedelics and create policy around medicinal use. A group of local researchers says it's really important to get this rollout right.
While the class itself, psychedelics and hallucinogens, have been used for a very long period of time, millennia in some cases, this is the first situation where they're being approved or potentially being approved for medical use by trained practitioners.
Colorado is at the forefront of regulated psychedelic treatments. After voters approved psilocybin for medicinal use back in 2022, researchers like Joshua Black and his team at Rocky Mountain Poison and Drug Safety Division are about to get a whole lot of new post-market data about psychedelic drugs.
We want to ensure that we're collecting the right information now so that in the future we can make decisions around safety, around efficacy, around whether individuals need to change the way the substances are being used to maximize the benefit and minimize the harm.
In a study published last month in Nature Mental Health, Black's team says we can't forget to track things like why people are using psychedelics and if they're using other drugs at the same time or have other health conditions. They'll also need to track the experience and training of the provider assisting the patient, and if the drug has the intended effect, a bad effect, or even symptoms that show up later.
Happy 420!
And Colorado has done something like this before, leading the way with legal cannabis.
When we think about psychedelics, and we're at that same cusp where a few smaller group of people are using and that group will grow over time, do we see those rarer events? The biggest thing we can learn is that rare events in a small population become much more frequent as that population gets bigger.
So Oregon is a few steps ahead of Colorado with psilocybin treatment facilities already legalized and in operation, serving patients with mental health diagnoses. Colorado's still working through making our state's rules and plans to take applications for natural medicine facilitators by the end of the year.
CU football player Shiloh Sanders, son of the head coach Deion Sanders, has now filed for bankruptcy after a massive judgment against him. This was first reported today by Westward.
9 News sports anchor and reporter Ariel Orsuto joins us now. Just kind of walk us through what we're learning about this tonight.
Yeah, Shiloh Sanders filed for bankruptcy in October 2023, and that was years after Texas court judgment against him, where he was ordered to pay more than $11.2 million in a personal injury lawsuit, according to U.S. bankruptcy court documents. Westward reports that this is related to an alleged attack in 2015 on a security guard named John Darjean from Sanders High School in Texas. According to the bankruptcy court document, Sanders claimed he only had just shy of $478,000 in total assets on October 23rd. That includes his Mercedes GLE and $308,000 between a Wells Fargo account and a Robinhood account. He also lists 2 LLC accounts with an unknown amount of money listed in each of those. It's important to note that John Darjean's complaint on January 29th was sealed by the courts.
That's an enormous judgment. So clearly, whoever was looking at it thought it was a really devastating attack.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that we at this point we don't have all that information. So we are aiming to get all that at this time.
And assuming none of the family Sanders are talking about this yet tonight?
At this point, no.
All right, Ariel, thank you very much.